Hello, family. Good day. I hope you are doing well, staying safe. Yeah. So the last episode we set the ball rolling on infant nutrition. I wouldn't want to bother you with any nitty-gritties we spoke about. And today I want to talk about still continue with that. I quite remember I was driving when a parent called and then said that asked me to do her a favor. It was a mommy. She said that I should draw a sort of a feeding schedule or a feeding guide for her infant, and I laughed because I felt like it was so much work to ask for. But then this is very important because with kids, that as they are growing and usually around 1 year old, as I said previously, their appetite kind of slows down. Okay, their appetite slows down, and so with the feeding guide, you are assured that you are actually feeding your child when your child is really hungry, and so they are more likely to eat most of the food or whatever you provide them, majority of it, as compared to when there is no structure with how you feed them. And it also helps you to know whether you're providing all the right nutrients for your kid. So it's awesome. And so I try to put something together for her. Yeah, that's good. And so I would want to touch on the feeding guide for the first year. So after when you're trying to wean off your child, after you've started the SMEs, the lactogens, you can, and then you have successfully weaned them onto adult diets. Okay, so their dietary recall, their 24-hour dietary recall. That's basically the food should include something like breastfeed. The breast milk or the formula feed should be about 3 to 5 feedings per day. So that means that you should try and structure your formula, your breast feeding to this. So about 3 to 5 times you feed them, and then make sure that they are getting dry infant cereal, which is fortified with iron, about 5 to 8 tablespoons mixed with formula. Okay, so usually you have your cereal. You can mix your cereal with some formula, which is the SMA or the lactogen, and then mix with water. You make sure that with the cereal, they inform you on how much of the milk to add and how much of the water to add. So you make sure that it's not overly diluted or overly concentrated, because that could affect their passage of stools. It could cause constipation or could cause diarrhea. So please note this. And you make sure that at least your child has about 2 to 4 tablespoons of fruits, either blended or pureed or mashed soft fruits, strained or cooked or blended juice. But as I said earlier, make sure that they are also getting the fruit itself, because it contains a lot of fiber, which is good for the body. And then with the vegetables, you could mash them, you could cook them to tender, mash them or blend them. Okay, so they are very soft, or you could chop them into bite-sized pieces. Okay, and then you could mix your vegetables with your fruit juice, or you could mix it with some yogurt. So there are yogurts on the stalls of our malls, and yes, in the stalls in our malls. Okay, you could find some yogurts, the ShopRite and the others. There are some yogurts, the plain yogurts, that you could mix some of these vegetables that you've chopped into bite-sized pieces. Okay, you could mix it with the yogurt and then serve it. And usually they are more likely to take that because they like the yogurt. That's one thing I've observed as a parent. And so you can mix the vegetables if they don't take it like that. And then you could also cook your meats. You could spice it a little, not with the artificial spices, the natural spices, and then cook it to tender, and then chop them into little pieces, but bite-sized pieces, and then serve it with your food. So you could mix it with your blended rice, and also you'd have to get them some starch. Okay, they need some carbohydrate, so you could blend some rice, mashed rice, or yam, and all these should be cooked, or mashed potatoes. So you have your mashed potatoes, your mashed or blended rice or bread. And then you could mix it with some vegetable, blended vegetable, okay? And then you could also add some protein, which is probably your mashed meat or your blended meat, okay? So next I would want to talk about toddler nutrition. So basically when you talk about toddlers are kids from 1 to 3 years of age, okay? And their feeding can be very challenging because at that stage they are looking for more independence, they are looking for control, and so getting them to sit down is quite challenging. And you see a lot of parents battling with these kids just to get them to sit down and then eat. So it makes mealtime very, very, very difficult. So it's very important that with these kids you have a structure, form of structure on how their feeding goes, and then you also set some limits for them. For instance, you make sure that you would do away with toys, do away with screens, so the television, the laptops, the tablets, okay? Because when you are feeding your kid and your kid is watching these things, they are less likely to take all the food. So it's good that you avoid distractions, toys and screens and all other play materials, and then avoid battling with them. Research has shown that doesn't really solve the problem. It doesn't solve the problem of them not accepting whatever you are giving to them. I spoke about the 3 hours of feeding, which is repetition, role modeling, and rewarding. And so, if you keep repeating the food, if you keep eating with them, which is a role modeling, and then if you keep praising them for or showing some form of appreciation for the little they eat, they are more likely to accept the meals and then eat them than when you fight with them. When you fight with them, they are more likely to resist that particular food, okay, whenever you give it to them, and so they would end up not really taking anything. Let's keep that in mind. Also, let's provide regular meals. So with the feeding guide I've given you, you could also use that. You could provide a regular meal. So in a day, you could serve about 3 regular meals with snacks in between, okay? And these regular meals and snacks should contain all the things I mentioned previously. So you would, as a parent, would have to structure it, make sure that the food is a variety, like at the same time monitoring for your allergies and reactions to all these different kinds of food. As I've said, limit the juice intake and make sure that they are getting a lot of fiber from their fruits. Let's be realistic about how much food we give to them, because sometimes we think that they would, sometimes we are I don't know whether we feel like they are adults. We give them very large proportions of the meals, and they that's not realistic enough. So for toddlers, they will do about 1/4 the size of the plate of a normal adult. Okay, so they are likely to do 1/4 of that plate. And then don't use desserts as reward. Rather, try serving it with all the rest of the food. Okay, and let mealtime be fun. Let them enjoy it. Sing with them. Try and make it more fun. It shouldn't be more or less like a battle. And then make foods easy for them to eat, because if the foods are hard, if they are large in size, they are not likely they are likely to be resisted. Okay, and one thing I've also realized as a mom is that sometimes if the texture is not to their satisfaction, very coarse, sometimes they are not likely to really accept it. And so let's try to do with the fine textured meals. Okay, so if you can really blend it to a fine texture, that would really help. They are more likely to accept that. So your potos, your yam mixed with your soup and all that, try and make it more fine. Or yes, finer. It's more fine. All right. And then let's prevent choking in our kids by slowly adding more difficult to chew foods. So as I said, you start with the small sized bite-sized pieces, and then gradually as they grow, you increase it to hard to chew foods. So carrots that would come later around 4 to 5 years, and even that, make sure that they are soft enough for them to be able to eat them. I hope this education helped. So that would be all for today. Join us on our next episode as we educate and inform you on everything about kids. Stay blessed. Bye bye.